topics and opinions expressed in the following show are solely those of the hosts and their guests and not those of W4CY Radio, its employees, or affiliates. We make no recommendations or endorsements for radio show programs, services, or products mentioned on air or on our web. No liability, explicit or implied, shall be extended to W4CY Radio or its employees or affiliates. Any questions or comments should be directed to those show hosts. Thank you for choosing W4CY Radio.
And welcome to Triversity Talk. I'm really excited about tonight because tonight on this show, we have actually come full circle. The show was originally called Triversity Talk, named after the Triversity Center in Milford, Pennsylvania, the LGBTQ plus center. And we started doing the show from Milford, and then magic happened. It became a nationwide show, which is really exciting. But tonight, we're going back to Milford for a very special person. You know, it really takes someone of an exceptional mindset to be able to be president of an LGBTQ plus organization, especially in a rural area. And Milford, New Jersey, and New York State have areas where our services are absolutely needed. And Triversity has been servicing those areas and those people. And we had an amazing president, Stephen Bloomer-Teague, who you all know, who used to be co-host on this show. But we cast a wide net. We were looking for a new president. And what do they say? You often find what you're looking for in your own backyard. Didn't Dorothy say that in The Wizard of Oz? Yes, she did. Well, without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to the new president of Triversity and a dynamic human being. Tonight's episode is called Taylor James, a Big Voice in a Small Town, Creating Change. Welcome, Taylor James.
Thank you, Wendy. Hi, everybody.
There you are. It's so
there
great.
I am.
Oh, my God. And look at you. You're on time and everything.
On time here, surrounded by gay. I'm very happy.
Yes, you're surrounded by gay. And your set is now, where are you? Tell me where you are.
So I am at the Triversity Pride Center, located right in the heart of Milford. It's our home base, our center of operation, and where we plan to be making a lot of magic happen over here.
Oh, I totally love it. You did quite a decorating job there tonight.
Yes,
Taylor.
I brought all the flags I could.
you just kidnapped every single flag that we had. Well,
the rest of the room is empty.
You know, I'm very excited because I've known you for such a long time. Yeah. Let's see. I've been in Milford for 22 years. On the weekends, we've had the organization for, I think we're going on 11 years. We may have even passed 11 years, but you were not even on the gaydar at that. I would always see you and I would think, oh my God, what a great person. So good looking. You worked in a lot of the local businesses. And how did we get to here, Taylor? You tell me. No, you know what? I knew this would happen when I met you a long time ago.
I had a feeling too.
Right. But I couldn't, you know, and you were always so busy. Like everywhere you worked, you were buzzing. You were here, there, and everywhere. And one of the first times I really got to know you was when you did the Laramie Project. Mm-hmm. You're a terrific actor. Was that one of the first acting things that you've done?
I've been doing theater since fourth grade, actually. I grew up on Long Island. I went to an acting school out on the island in Port Jefferson. Yeah, so I did. I've been doing it my whole life, but that was actually my first straight play. And it was my first revisit after kind of taking a couple years away from the stage. So It was one of the most powerful, important moments of my life was doing the Laramie Project.
You were very powerful as Matthew Shepard, and certainly as you go out into the world and audition more, that if you see they're looking for people for that play, that's one that you should definitely have.
Definitely. I'm hoping to bring it back here too,
Yes.
because we had planned on originally doing it more, and then the pandemic happened, of course.
Well, we all had a lot of plans for a lot of things.
We had a lot of dreams and hopes that got dashed by Miss Rona. But that's definitely on my list of something I would like to see in the next 2 years, because I think it had such a powerful message, especially for where we're at in Milford and the surrounding area, because a lot of the people in that story, for anyone who's not familiar, it's the story of Matthew Shepard, but it's done by interviews from people who knew Matthew, from people in the town, business owners, people who grew up in that area. And it's such a like raw look into what it was like for those people. Right. And a lot of these people didn't even know they were homophobic, didn't even know that they were ignorant, and they found out on national news. And it was a really interesting juxtaposition and really an amazing comparison to where we're at, especially, I mean, we're 24 years out from it happening, and it seems scarily possible that it could happen tonight. And
absolutely. Like 10 years after that play, I remember thinking, things have gotten better. I'd gone to see it many times, and we'd always leave the theater just saying, well, that was then. And isn't it great how all the strides that have happened now? That was such a horrible thing, but that wouldn't happen now. And I hate to sit here and say that I completely not only agree with you, my God, we've like gone in reverse.
Yep.
And, a certain somebody from Florida was just on the campaign trail, New York State, and was out in Pennsylvania. And I happened to get on my Facebook, hey, New Yorkers, I'm going to make things safe for you. I'm going to align with using the police, by the way, who, by the way, in New York City, I am very pro-police. Terrible things that have happened. We do know there needs to be education in the police department, but the crime in New York in the subways has gone down now that we have cops on every platform. Let me just say that. So this certain someone from Florida is using that as a political platform to get people to vote for him. And, New York City is it's very liberal. It's very progressive. So this comes in on my Facebook feed, and I'm looking at the comments on there, and I'm like, holy moly. Yeah. It really horrified me, the amount of people that were saying, oh, thank you. This is exactly what we need. Because, and I bring this up to you, Taylor, it's the ignorance. He took, the police thing, and he was aware of what was going on in New York, and he knows we're happy that there's cops in the subway now, and he's using that as a vote for me thing. All right. And there are people on there that I'm sure are not homophobic, but guess what? They don't realize the attacks that he has single-handedly made on the gay community, my God, the trans community, and let's just put it out there, the Black community. Yep. I mean, how is he getting away with this?
I mean, I think we're seeing it just in general, in that it's a lot of people have come out of the woodwork with their hate. And I mean, people like him and a lot of these politicians they're saying they know exactly who they're pandering to. They know exactly what they're doing. They know the hate they're sowing, and they know it's building support for them. So it scares me a lot, because I think even I worked at a bar locally that had more of a conservative customer base during the 2016 election, up until the pandemic, and the change in how people even talked about politics and how people talked to me about who I was, that's really where I started getting emblazoned.
So you started I didn't know that. Okay, so in 2016, when you were working locally, people had already started to say things to you, but did they say those things to you thinking you were one of the boys?
Yes.
Right.
I have had a startling amount of people who will tell me I'm the only gay person they know, their favorite gay person. Why can't more gay people be like it's yeah, I think at that point I hadn't fully embraced my sexuality or grown into who I am today as well. So I was kind of keeping my head low and trying to make money and not upset anybody.
Yeah, we call that you have to fly under the radar. You do what you got to do.
And I tried hard to do that for so long, and then it became impossible because people started being open with how they felt about the LGBTQ plus community, how they felt about women, how they felt about people of color. And I got to a point where I couldn't really deal with that. I couldn't take money from those people anymore. And that was really what opened my eyes to how extreme things were kind of sliding backwards. Because up until that point, people were pretty quiet about things. I mean, in my experience, I grew up and I was born in 91. I grew up at a time where I think a lot of progress was made. I mean, 12 years ago when I was in school versus when I talk to some of these students now, the differences are amazing. But then in the last few years, it's almost like there's like people are pushing back on it, and it's really terrifying. And we're seeing it. We have a front row seat in Milford, in Pike County to this hate and to examples of this homophobia, this transphobia. It's absolutely terrifying. And it's
terrifying.
Yeah, and it's why I'm here. It's why I am passionate about standing up, because I have seen all these things. They've happened to me. And
it takes, you know what? I want to ask you, what was the turning point for you? I mean, the classic speech that was all over the internet blew everybody out of the water when you stood up at the school board meeting. Was that the turning point, or did it happen before that?
So I was dating somebody who was very politically plugged in. I had been looking for a way to get plugged in, and I kind of found myself thrust into these meetings, these school board meetings, these political meetings, just kind of as a guest. And you start hearing the incident that made me want to get involved was we had an issue with a diversity committee, where the school was talking about sending out surveys if people had dealt with racism, had dealt with homophobia. And we had students in that meeting talking about how they had just been called racial slurs in the hallway. And administrators were in that meeting and weren't listening to that student. And they were saying, well, let's see these results come in for the survey. No, you have a student
a damn survey. Listen to the kids that are
right here in front of you. And it got to a point where I felt like I knew a lot of the people that were still in that district, because I went to school at DV, and I knew firsthand the support that exists and the bullying that existed. I went through it, and I wasn't out. I was too afraid to come out. And so
did you get bullied though? Were you?
Yes. I was in drama club. I was super involved in the school. I was closeted.
They have a great drama club, by the way. They have an excellent
Delaware Valley Drama Club is incredible. And a lot of the people in that district are very supportive and loving too.
Right.
But it was, I graduated in 2010. My 2 or 3 last years in the high school, I'm guessing just from doing drama club, being involved in plays and stuff, I'd been called a faggot multiple times in the hallway. I had someone, I work at a restaurant in town. I had someone drive by and throw something at me and call me a faggot my senior year in high school. And and I didn't have a space there. And I think that's what inspired me to speak up, was finding out at this meeting that there wasn't a space still 12 years later with all the progress.
You carried this with you. This is hurt, right? And you carried, and it's got to be anger too, but you had to carry it and bury it. And I guess you reached a certain point in your life where you're like, the hell with it. I'm going to say exactly how I feel.
Yeah. And it got to a point where I was so tired of diminishing myself and holding myself back and holding my voice back, that I was kind of coached by some of the incredible people we have that are battling these school board fights,
Yeah.
about where they were at, what was happening. And they really supported me in standing up and saying, this was my experience. This is, I mean, to backtrack a little bit, a lot of the stuff that's happening is ignorance and at these school boards. This was the school board meetings were really my first launch into local politics and to everything. Was having these personal conversations with people who I knew, who I kind of had a good relationship with, who I find out want to ban books just because they have 2 gay dads in them, or a book like Speak, which in my opinion is one of the most important books a young woman can read in their life. And they're at these school board meetings talking about banning them because they depict rape. Well, people get raped and they need to know how to deal with that. And so I think I was so surprised by what was being said in front of students. We had parents standing up and saying all trans people are mentally ill in front of 3 trans kids, in front of kids under 14 years old.
Right.
And I looked at those kids and I thought, I need them to know that they have a community, they have support, because
it has their back. Absolutely.
In my experience, I didn't know where to turn. I didn't actually know a single gay person until my 20s. And I didn't know
when you were you graduated, you said 2010.
Yeah.
Did they have a GSA there then?
No.
That must have come after. Like 2 years.
That, to my knowledge, no. And the other gay students I know at the time were not part of any alliance. I felt as though it was still very much the don't ask, don't tell period. And because I think one of my biggest issues and why I want to speak out so much now is because I felt like no one was talking about it when I was a kid. And that's why I was so lost and so confused and so scared about what I was, because all I knew from being born was that I was different. I knew from like the age of 3 that something was very different from me, from my brother. And growing up, I still was never exposed to any kind of example of an LGBTQIA person. And I think a big reason too for me wanting to do what I'm doing now is I want to be that for someone like me. I really want to make sure these kids know that there's a future and that there's this chance to be happy, and even like there's this chance to survive, because I didn't, and I didn't believe that, and I almost did something horrible because of it.
Listen, we just had, a girl who committed suicide. It was all over the news from bullying, right? Yep. There's a bunch of things that you've said, but the administrators are handing out surveys and they've got kids there, trying to voice their opinion, and no one's listening. We're not communicating. All right. Nope. And is there anything like in your mind going forward, because you go to the school board meetings, what can be done to change? You're right, it's ignorance, and we can use that word till we're blue in the face, but I think I've talked to you about this. How do you change the mindset? There's a lot of people that love you that may be ignorant to what LGBTQ plus is, but I would like to think when they love you, how do you just take and have the conversation to affect the way they think?
There's a lot of cognitive dissonance there, especially with the people who love me, but then can turn around and vote against my rights.
I know. Well, this is like across the boards. We know this.
And so I think the scariest realization was that I don't know. I don't have an answer on how to change these minds anymore, because I have stood in front of them raw and completely open, willing to have a conversation, willing to make a bridge, tried to. And I've had great conversations with some of these people. And then the next meeting, they will look me dead in the eye and call me a pedophile. That's happened multiple times. And so
So there's
And
there's absolutely no, there's a disconnect. That's what
but
you're
I
saying.
think what is important, and I think why I took this position in Triversity and why I want so badly to strengthen our organization is because I don't think we need to worry about changing them anymore. I think we need to worry about empowering our community. We need to worry
I agree
about
with
educating our own people, strengthening
Right.
our own people so that they can't touch us. Because if we're strong enough, if we're organized enough, if we are together enough, if we are watching each other's backs, there's nothing anybody can do. So I think
Agreed.
it really comes down to, at this point, we don't worry about changing their hearts. We worry about strengthening our hearts, and we worry about teaching our people self-defense, teaching our people to love each other, teaching our people to find each other, teaching our people to organize politically, locally, all of these.
The organization politically is
It's
super
so
important.
crucial. It's so
Petition
crucial.
signing and supporting the candidates.
Speaking
But
of
what do you
petition
think we can
signings
do-
coming up, everybody.
Right?
Woohoo!
What do you think we can do? Because you go to these school board meetings. I have never been to one. I just read, thank God you'll put them on YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I sit there and I watch it and I'm like, holy moly, this is the stuff that you see like happening nationwide. And we
If
have
you've
it
ever
happening.
seen an episode of Parks and Rec where they have the town hall meetings and they're just like, I want Twilight in the, it's literally, you wouldn't believe some of the things. And I'm like, these people are raising children. And the
Right.
scary thing for me, and what I have tried so hard to get through to these people, is your kid may be just like me. And
Right.
they aren't going to be willing to talk to you, because you are standing up and telling them you don't accept them. You don't think they're gay because they haven't come out to you, but you have made it very clear they can't come out to you.
They can't come
And so
out.
my biggest fear is these parents who are speaking at these meetings, imagine what their kids are going through. If they aren't being taught to hate themselves, they're being taught how to hate others. And it's
Right.
such a waste. It's such a waste of education, of love, of time. But what we can do, I think, is just stand up and just speak and be an example and show that no matter what they say about us, they can call me a pedophile, a groomer, or whatever till their eyes, till I don't even know, till they're purple in the mouth. But the thing is, I'm not those things. And so that can't hurt me. What I can do while they're hurling those things is show these kids that those things they're hurling at me can't touch me. I know who I am. I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm fighting for. I know why I'm standing here. And so all of the noise, it has to be thrown away. It can't be ignored because it's just going to tumbleweed. But what we can do, in my opinion, is we can educate our community. We can find our allies. We can, and that's what Triversity is really trying to organize to do at this point is.
Well, I think like John Stephen Hellman and Amanda Pauly went to the Lake Wallenpaupack school.
Yes.
And their results were so positive.
Yeah.
The kids that they connected with. And it seems that that particular school, I wonder why, that's another Pennsylvania school, they're more progressive than we are at Delaware Valley High School. I wonder.
Well, I think it has something to do with some of the players, because we have, I'm not sure how active a couple of our main players on the extremist side are in other school districts. I know they've honed in on us. So we have some bigwigs. We have that, a lot of people who are fighting for Second Amendment sanctuary in this area. There's just a very loud, vocal minority of extremists who have gotten very good at organizing to a scary level. They have learned how to identify people that they can manipulate into fighting their battles. They've learned how to find people that agree with them. And they've learned how to find people who are ignorant enough that they can mold how they're doing this. And they come in high numbers. They come loud. They come prepared. They come with speeches. They come researched. It's wrong. All the research is out of nowhere, but it's scary how good they are at organizing. I'm not sure.
So let's talk about how good our side is at organizing, right? What do you think? Like okay, case in point, I live across the street from a library in New York City. I'm on the 10th floor. I wake up to yelling and screaming. I go downstairs. Why are they yelling and screaming in front of the library? Drag story hour. So you had like 10 people with rainbow colored hair. All right. And then you had the other side, which I was told by a news reporter, the other side, and that were so loud, was told that they are extremely well organized. I heard the same thing that you're just saying, that they're well organized. They're not even from the neighborhood, but they find out where there's going to be a drag story hour.
Most of our main people don't even have kids in the district, or their kids are in private school.
This is what I struggle with. I have to tell you, because, I'm told again and again, well, they're taxpayers, they're allowed to speak. What does it take to shut them down? There's one person in particular, and you know who it is, and we're not going to name names, but that person doesn't have kids in the school. All right. So how has that person been allowed to become so vocal? And how can the people that sit on the board not shut him down?
So they do a lot. And what's pretty amazing is I've reached out to a lot of these board members who are from the other side of the aisle, and it's almost unanimous on the board that they shut him down whenever they legally can. They limit their time. If anything offensive, like we had one person who turned around and flipped me the middle finger because I had an issue with her saying all trans kids were mentally ill, and she got banned.
She flipped you the middle finger.
Flipped me off in a school board meeting in front of children, and that woman was banned for 6 months. So there are ways but the problem is that they, for the most part, they try to play it by the playbook, so they aren't. Like they can't get banned, they can't get in trouble. And the person that we're talking about is really good at finding these people who he can kind of mold. And so I know this person personally. I was very surprised to find out that this was all kind of going on. He was the figurehead of it, but it's all part of a very large organization, a very large national effort to lose funding in public schools, to make school choice the main factor in how kids go to school. So these people are going to do everything they can to delegitimize what our public schools are doing.
That's exactly what they're trying to do. But honestly, at the end of the day, and maybe I'm being naive, I think that's a big thing to try and do. And
but it's scary. I mean, you look at
the other side of the coin, if you look what's happening in Florida, the fact that they're not allowed to teach Black studies on a college level. I mean,
and what's scary is our district tends to introduce these people tend to introduce what you'll see in Florida and Texas about 3 months after it gets passed in Florida and Texas. We're basically Florida light in our little area.
Yeah. No, you're 100% right. Wow.
But it's I think, like I said, it's you had asked earlier how we are organizing. I think we had to start from the ground up and identify people. A lot of what's hard is a lot of the parents of LGBT kids are scared. They're scared for their kids' safety. They're scared
I'm a parent. I absolutely, my kid went to school in New York here, so it's much different. Yeah. But as a parent, I wouldn't have put her in school there. I don't know what I would have done. I wouldn't have had a choice, so I would have had to, but I would have been terrified.
Yeah, and I think that's what's hard too, is our side has a lot more at stake to stand up.
Right.
And so I think it's really easy to find a bunch of people who hate something. What's harder is to find people who are courageous enough to stand up against those people. And it's really hard for me to look at a young mother in her eyes and say, stand up with me against these people who want to see your child gone. Stand up with me. And
I think, Taylor, I think that's really, really hard.
How do we ask them to make a 6-year-old the figurehead of our movement, because I don't want to do that. I want that kid to be protected with everything in me. And so it's really hard to find enough people that we outspeak these voices. But what scares me is that board we're talking about, most of them, even on the other side, they agree with us. They think these people are crazy, but these people who are more extreme than them are running their candidates.
Right.
We are about to see a very scary election, and we are working our butts off to offset it and to fight it and to make sure our own people are there. But the numbers here are stacked against us. And the scariest thing is that it could get more extreme on that board. And this is how they're playing this long game. This is how they're succeeding at this long game, by taking these small elected offices like school board, like commissioner, like magistrate.
No, they infiltrate.
They're infiltrate, and it's like watching a movie. It's literally like we're watching a movie in real time. And I'm just standing here trying to wave a rainbow flag and have fun with my friends, but God forbid. God forbid. I just want to do a little play and do a little dance, but no. Here we are.
You know, though, the more we talk, things come into mind, right? And I'm thinking, I know we're going to have more open hours at the center. We've already started doing that. Yeah, well, I took on, I think I'm the first weekend in March.
Come on down, everybody, and see Wendy at the center.
You can come by and see me, but I'm also thinking, as President of Triversity and all of us who are on the board, and actually anyone else who wants to join in, wouldn't it be great to be able to do workshops for parents? Because the thing that really hit the core with me, the parent that is protective of their kid, that knows their kid's gay, doesn't want their kid to be victimized because they're a parent. You don't want your child ever. If we could provide support where those parents could come and talk, have coffee, and
the most important thing we can
discuss these strategies.
I think that our biggest focus now is, with what's going on, is what you just said, is providing spaces for parents of LGBT kids, and not even just parents of LGBTQ plus kids. But I had a very close friend and coworker who came up to me and said their child had met a trans student in, I want to say, a kindergarten or first grade, and said something, and the mom was like, I would just like to know what's the best way to have this conversation with my child, so that my kid learns and treats this trans child with respect. And so there's a lot of people out there who want this education and who could use it. So we need to provide that. We need to provide a space for everybody. And I mean, I think that's what's so important. I don't care about anything else other than building these spaces. So support for students, support for people coming out, support for people who come out and it doesn't go well, for support for people who are fully out and who are struggling to find we just need to strengthen our community. And that means coming together, providing resources, helping each other, and loving each other. Yeah. And I think that's always been here. There's always been a community, but I think now is the time to scream about it. I mean, we need to show our community that we're here in big numbers and we're not going away. Trans people are never going to stop existing. They're only going to get louder and prouder. And we need to.
And there's more kids, more young children coming out as trans now.
And they were always there.
Thank you.
Another thing. That's another thing these people at the school board, they don't get, is that there's not more trans people. There's not more gay people.
Right. They were always,
I would have been out at 3 years old. Well, probably not 3, but I would have been out the minute you knew, when I was drawing red magic marker, Crayola magic marker on my lips, and at 4 years old, I knew I was different.
I'm totally sure you did that. And I know you didn't color between the lines either.
Oh no, of course. And I drew them big, like, oh honey, we did it with filler. It was good.
It was everywhere.
But we really, I mean, my ideal future is just one where a kid's a kid. And where
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
Where everybody just has the same chance from day one. Because that was what I struggled with the most. I struggled so hard, and I still struggle with tolerance. I still struggle with having to start one step lower than other people. I mean, I work in the service industry. Every table I walk up to, I have to think, can I be gay? And
wow, I have
such
never, you know what? So first of all, thank you for your honesty. Second of all, thank you for waking me up, because that's not anything I would have ever thought somebody
especially
would,
around here.
right?
And I mean, I wear this bracelet, I'll wear a pride, all those things I'm doing them knowing that I'm going to make a pretty decent percentage in this area uncomfortable. And that's not why I'm doing it. I'm doing it to show I'm here. And this person who's been serving you eggs for 10 years,
Right.
who you keep
love,
up with, you care about. I mean, a
right.
lot of these people care about me, and then they find out I'm gay, and it's a disconnect. And
It's a disconnect.
And it happens often. And I want that. I don't want kids to have to grow up and learn that. I don't want anybody to have to walk up and say, "Can I shake this person's hand and be who I am?" Because I can't do that, and I've never been able to do that.
Right.
And even in people who know I'm who I am, I still have to alter my levels for every single person I walk up to, and it's ridiculous.
That is, you're describing something, Taylor, that is such pressure. My God.
And it's constant. And I mean, that's why
That's like such crazy. I think, I'm in the entertainment industry. A lot of my friends are wait people, they don't even think about that in the city. They wouldn't, and the fact that you have to have that in your head. Oh my God, how gay am I today? Should I play down the amount of gay? How much gay can I show them? That is such tremendous pressure on you.
And it's hard on me, because I don't want to do it. I am really, it took me years. It took me, Wendy, I want to say 30 years to be proud of this, to be proud of who I am.
Totally understand.
And I'm damn proud now.
Yeah.
And
you are also, I'm so damn proud of you. I'm so damn proud to know you, because when I met you, I think it was 10 years ago?
Yeah, a long time ago.
Right. I knew you had it in you, and I knew the time, but I knew you had that. Not everybody is a mouthpiece in this world.
No.
Some people just kind of blend however they blend, gay, straight, or whatever. But I knew you had a certain something. And when I saw you do that Laramie project, I saw your talent as a performer, but I also saw your ability as a communicator, because you know what? At the end of the day, that's what we're talking about. If you're going to bring community together, you got to be a really good communicator. Okay. If diversity is going to get out there and attempt to bring community together. And we've discussed, the kinds of, I love events. And I'm thinking, with workshops, or even just sitting in the center and talking to people, you've got to be a communicator.
And we need to, I think that another thing I'm really excited about is I don't come from, I'm not well off. I don't have, I live paycheck to paycheck. I struggle to get the gas to get to the center. I struggle to take off of work to do the events. And I really think that's important for people in our community who don't know how to find a seat at the table, because a lot of people in any nonprofit, it's daunting to enter it without being able to contribute money. And I want it to be very important. I want it to be very clear that anybody can walk in this center and contribute with their time, with their conversation, and that's always been the case. But I want to make sure every single person knows we are an open door now. If you don't have the means to do an event, you reach out to us and we will get you in here.
We will make sure that you come in the door and you can volunteer.
This table is for everyone. This table is open. There's a seat for you. There'll always be a seat for you.
For saying
nothing.
That.
And I need that. I need these people in this town to not feel afraid about anything when they enter this door. Well, it's our job to do that.
Right. You also brought up the economic thing, the different economic levels, and certainly you see them out in Milford.
Oh yeah.
You see them in Pike County, and the struggle is real.
Just very
Thank,
real.
thank you for calling attention to that, because that conversation makes a lot of people uncomfortable.
It
I
is.
think as the LGBTQ plus center, we have to let people know that, hey, our doors are open for you, and really whatever, and let them know they can contribute.
You
That's
can.
really important.
I want someone who
it's
gives an
something-
hour of their time to feel
Thank
as
you.
important as someone who gave $500,
Right.
because your time is valuable and your stories are valuable, and sharing those stories and perspectives is what is going to help
Agreed.
change and strengthen us. And
Well,
I mean, I'm a cis white gay guy. I don't know.
we're not going to hold it against you.
But but you could, and that's my point. Is I have so much to learn, and I'm scrambling to learn it, because I want to be able to
but you're
honor
also
this.
offering. Look at what you're offering.
But I want your stories. I want you to come and sit at this table with me. I want you to feel heard. I want you to feel seen. And if I walk away from when the presidency of Triversity is all over, if I know I had made people in our community feel heard and seen, that's enough. And
Right.
I'm excited to do it.
Well, your enthusiasm has spread amongst all of us, which is really great. It's funny you said when your time is up. Didn't they tell you your time is never up? Once you go through the door and you take the title off,
you're stuck with me. Don't worry.
There's no escaping. No, I'm just joking. But your enthusiasm is absolutely infectious. Now, I wanted to ask you, I know you had some open hours. Did we have new people come in? What was that like?
So we've had so we're starting our full open hours in March.
Okay.
I will be here.
So I'm like one of the first.
You're one of the first. So I have done a couple. I didn't come in today because of the weather, but we've had a couple people stop in, and we've done a lot of strategizing. But what my goal is to have kind of like low stake events. So like maybe one night we'll be doing like board games, one night we'll be watching a movie. But we're gonna have a schedule where, for the most part, almost every day you can stop in here and find someone. I'll be here Tuesdays and Wednesdays. John Hellman's going to be here on Mondays, where we're just going to have stuff going on constantly here. It's going to be the hub, and it's not just for the LGBTQ community. It's for our allies. It's for our friends, our families. It is for anybody who wants a seat at the table. This is for you. And we've had Makeup Monday with Bell Pepper, John Hellman.
Oh my God, which, because I couldn't be there for that. I need to know all about it.
Amazing.
It was amazing.
The difference in the diversity in the people who came to this event. The first night, I want to say it was like 12 people, and so many different groups were represented. And I cried when I was driving home, because that's just like what I want to see. I want to see a gay person and a trans person and a hunter and a mom and a grandma. And I want to see all of them at the table.
Room with each other, with Bell Pepper teaching them how to shave.
Block out your eyebrows. Here's
how you do your contour. Here's how you put your eyebrows all the way up there. I
loved it so much. And it was just beautiful, because it was us. Like, it was our community just hanging out, and there was no precursor to who you had to be there. There was no, and I just that's our future, is just that table of people. And we can build that and facilitate that in this area, that it's going to be hard and it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort, but like, we will do it. We can do it. We're already doing it. And
I totally love it. Sorry. A Makeup Monday, maybe on a Makeup Sunday, so I can go to that.
Makeup every day is all I'm saying.
There you go, Taylor. Makeup every day.
But that's something. What I found so cool about this Makeup Monday with John Hellman, Bell Pepper, was all the ways that makeup can be used to empower people, especially in our community, with gender expression, and there's so many ways that we can strengthen our community, like teaching about makeup, like teaching them about self-defense, like educating them about pronouns and about conversations and about coming out and all these things. Like, it's all of these little factors you'd never think about that make this huge difference. And I think
I'm curious, the people that came to Makeup Monday, were there some new faces there?
yes, yep, new
Okay,
faces.
so that is the correct answer, and that was the answer I was hoping for. You're already doing what you want to do, because here's what I think. I think the people are out there. How about that? And I think a lot of people were forced to go under rocks for whatever reason. I think Triversity, by welcoming people, by having the open hours, by offering events, by offering activities like Makeup Monday, my God, who wouldn't like game night?
I'm sorry.
Right?
My dream is to host Family Feud, and I plan on turning this into, or no, Price is Right. Excuse me.
Price is Right. Okay,
Followed
I
by
have
Family
a special
Feud.
game that I've been promoting. It's called Rainbow Quest, and they've been
Two
playing
of my favorite things.
Right, Rainbow Quest. They've been playing it at Julia's Bar in the city, believe it or not, on Monday nights. While you're having Makeup Monday, they play this game. What I love about the game is it's super fun, but also really educational in terms of, like, LGBTQ plus history.
I love that.
Yeah, the game is beautiful. I'm looking at it right here because it's heavy. It's got a lot in it, but I'm hauling it out to Milford.
Yeah, I was gonna say get it down, because Board Game Tuesdays are coming at you soon. Also, Gay Book Club. Get ready for Gay Book Club. I'm very excited about that.
Great. That's Oh, and my God, Taylor, we're like, I forgot to tell you, we only have 2 minutes left. Where did the time go? My God.
Time flies.
A blue streak here, can't we? Or a rainbow color one.
Amen.
So my oh my God, my last question to you. I hate when people ask me that. Where do you see yourself? I'm not going to do, where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Because I hate that question. I hate when people ask me that. Where do you see yourself, like, going with making a difference, performing, all of that? Like, what's Taylor's grand game plan?
My goal is to do what I'm doing with Triversity on a bigger and a bigger scale.
Yes.
I think the first time I stood up at that school board meeting, I realized that is what I want to be doing.
Right.
Is this activism, is political work, sometimes, not always, because political work's not always super fun. But right now I'm really trying to train and educate myself to become a better activist for the LGBTQ plus community.
You're well on your way.
My goal will be to grow that in any way, shape, or form that I can through Triversity and through any other means. I think what I've been telling people, what I'm most excited about, is I feel like this is a chance that I've been looking for to do what I've wanted to do. And I may never have the chance I have right now to be in a position to make a difference and to help people. And so I want to do it as much as I can.
No, I hear you, because right now you're we call it a mindset. You're in the right time, the right place, the right mindset. Let her rip.
Yep. Right? Let her rip. Amen. Let her rip.
It's all in front of you. How does your family feel about this?
They are generally supportive.
Okay.
It's been a long ride. They're conservative, and so it's an interesting thing, but that's
Taylor, I asked you that question because this show is nationwide, and when you speak, you're speaking to every single person out there in a small town that's struggling.
They support them. They support me as much as I think they know how to support me right now.
And I think that's what we have to.
They have grown, and they love me to death.
Right. Well, everybody loves Taylor.
You'd be surprised.
Who can love Taylor? Taylor, thank you right back. First of all, so much. I'm wishing you the best with Triversity. I will see you at the beginning of March. My God, I've been gone. So I've had so many jobs and things, but all really good stuff.
Missed you.
Yeah, no, thank you. That makes me feel good, because I've missed everybody. And I just feel like, when I'm doing performance, I'm out of the loop. When I'm working with organizations in New York, I'm out of the loop. But it's all good stuff too. And you said something earlier. If you don't want to give money, if you can't always give money, I'm involved in a lot. I can give my time. I can give my words. you know, and I can give my effort. And guess what? That's worth hundreds of dollars. So
thousands, millions, baby.
Millions, baby. Taylor, thank you so much. Thank you,
you,
everybody who tuned in. And we'll see you next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thank you.
Bye.